We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Or maybe you're in the mood for seafood. Big Sur Oyster Bar has fresh seafood prepared right before your eyes. Savor freshly shucked oysters, crab legs jambalaya, shrimp and lobster. Beers on tap and a selection of fine wines are perfect to pair with your seafood favorite. Whether lunch or dinner, you'll love this fun atmosphere, located just off the casino floor. Ready to shake things up? Step back in time and treat yourself to one of the oldest restaurant chains in the country. Steak and Shake, famous for original mouth-watering steak burgers and hand-dipped milkshakes in a variety of flavors. For some old-fashioned fun, try Steak and Shake.
Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here on a Friday morning. Thrilled to be with you as always. I'm Jeff Parles. Sean, if you want to take the shot, go for it. You know what you want to do. I knew it. I knew he wanted to do it. I knew he wanted to. He always has it ready, as always. Our guy Sean in the corner there, Drew Dog Vince. Thrilled to be with you as always. I'm Jeff Parles. All right. It's a Friday. We got 3 days to go of some regular season ball in college hoops, but we got a lot of conference tournaments, and let's start there here today with confetti. We're too strong for those basketballs on top of our head. There we go. All right. Starting the Valley. About to get going in St. Louis, Missouri. Southern Illinois and Drake, the number one seed in the conference tournament. The Drake Bulldogs, back-to-back championships, but a very different-looking team this year, as we've talked about. Of course, Darren DeVries goes to West Virginia. Ben McCollum gets the job. Northwest Missouri State takes his whole high-end D2 team with him, and Drake has been the best team in the Missouri Valley all year long. 27-3. Unbelievable year for the Bulldogs. They take on Southern Illinois, who played a quick-paced, close game all the way through yesterday. They beat Indiana State as a small dogs, 86-85. Now they play Drake. Now, I'm not looking at the full game. It's 127-11 here in this one. I laid 6 in the first half with Drake, which, I don't love that. But here's the reasoning for it. Southern Illinois had to play yesterday. Quick turnaround. Drake is rested. They're the much better team, and they're a highly efficient offense despite playing at the slowest pace in college basketball. But this feels like a good fade early of Southern Illinois. Just come out of the gate slow, struggle again. Indiana State's defense is nothing compared to what this Drake defense is. In a tempo where, again, a team that wants to play quicker, if they're stuck to play slow, maybe a little bit harder for them to go out of it. So a lay 6 first half with Drake is the play in this one. All right, 5-4 game in this match, in this tournament. Belmont and Illinois State, it's a pick behind us here at the South Point. Go find the ones on Illinois State. This is an even enough matchup where this will come down to the fact that the Belmont the Belmont defense is 256th. The Illinois State defense is 245th. We're dealing with two very bad defenses here. I think Illinois State actually has a chance to control the tempo in this game. I wonder if Belmont's a little bit tighter because this is their first time out. You're in a scenario here where this is a first go around. You get to see the venue of your Illinois State. I would lean to the Redbirds, take the point with Illinois State. I think a slower tempo benefits more than a faster tempo in these spots. Bradley and Murray, 4.5. There's some 5 in the market as well. It opened 3.5. I don't think this is large enough, honestly. Really don't. Now, Murray finally showed up last night. Really just put it on Evansville. Nice 21-point win. The two matchups this season, Bradley won by 13 in Murray. Murray took Bradley to overtime, actually, in Peoria about a week and a half ago. This is Bradley, just to me, much better basketball team. So I would lay up the 5. That would be the bulk, the biggest number I would go with here with Bradley. But I would look at the Braves here in this one as the only side here. Nothing on the total in this one. Going Northern Iowa and Valpo, the final game of this tournament here today. It's 10 and 138. That might be a look at Valparaiso. Now, Valpo, keep in mind, they played Northern Iowa only once. They also did play Northern Illinois. They beat Northern Iowa back in Valpo on January 4th. They beat them by 7, I should say. That was in the middle of their good stretch where Valpo won 3 straight games. The rest of the year, they were only 3 and 14 in those other 17 conference games in the Valley this year. I think 10 is too much here, though. Don't expect Valpo to pull an upset. I mean, they clocked UIC last night, won by 17. That game really wasn't even competitive. But this feels like a good take of the 10. They should be able to keep this thing within single digits here against Northern Iowa, even though, again, Northern Iowa is a good basketball team, and I have them in the final losing the final to Drake, who I have winning this tournament. All right, let's pull up the Colonial bracket here real quick. The CAA. We got 2 games here today in this tournament as well, kicking off in Washington, D.C. You can throw it on up there, Sean. You see on the far left, Delaware and Stony Brook, the 12-13. Hofstra, the 11 seed against the 14-seeded NCA&T Aggies. So, Towson's the 1. UNC Wilmington, though, is the betting favorite. Wilmington is plus 180 at Superbook, plus 350 on Towson, plus 360 on Charleston. Everybody else, 12-1 or longer. Now, on today's games, I have no plays. Delaware currently a 7.5-point favorite against Stony Brook. That's about right, 146 the total. Hofstra down to 9 now, so they've taken the 10 with NCA&T. Yeah, that's the right take. I don't know if Hofstra should still be this big of a favorite in the game. It's only total 124 as well in the other game here. But if we're looking at futures, there's only 2 ways I'd look to go here. Chalk with Wilmington, who is the best team in this league, even though they were not the top seed. If you look at the Ken Palm rankings, they were the best. They were the best all year, mostly in this league. They're on the right side. I think they're actually on the right side of the bracket as well. The way their draw works, I'd much rather see, if I'm them, Northeastern or Hampton in my first game than the winner of Drexel and Towson, Drexel and Elon, who will have to play Towson, I should say. And speaking of Elon, They're 25-1 to win this thing. I think that could be worthy of a little bit of pizza money. I think that's one you can get deep in this tournament. Obviously, they'd have to pull an upset over Towson in round 2 and probably even be a dog against Drexel at this rate. But they've beaten both Wilmington and Towson. They also beat Wilmington on the road. So 25-1 on Elon, I think, is a little bit much here. I think that's worth a pizza money shot here today. You'll also probably have that one number available when these numbers repost. There's no reason to think that 25-1 will change it all before tomorrow. All right, let's take a quick break. When we get back, Duane Colucci joins us, college hoops, hockey, and more with Colucci when we get back. Sports by the Book right here at the South Point studio.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Get ready to laugh with Punchlines with Frank Nicotero. Join Frank and his team of featured guests for your daily dose of comedy.
Reno, the Pittsburgh of the West.
Poison.
Yeah.
Poison.
Sports.
F for Falcons, Alex. We were talking Derek Carr for MVP after 2 games.
Who's we?
Okay, me.
You?
I was.
And the funniest social media posts.
People want to show off their food. Boom. Wiener on a guy's shoulder. It's our Colts. We bleed blue.
It's your one-stop spot for great laughs and a good time. Find us on YouTube at Punchlines FN. And join the chat live weekdays at noon Pacific for the ultimate blend of jokes, sports, and viral fun.
Welcome back in. It's Sports by the Book. I'm Jeff Parles, and now joining us from due north of where we are right now, up in Summerlin, Las Vegas, up at the Rampart, the race and sportsbook director, our good friend Duane Colucci joins us right now. Colucci, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. How's everybody in South Point land over there?
We are, we're waiting for the chips to show up so we can start getting Vinny out here to deal some blackjack to us. So we're just waiting on that here now, Duane.
He'll start dealing from the bottom. I know, Vinny. You got to be careful of these wise guys, without a doubt. He'll have that ace up his sleeve. Don't worry.
Dealing at the bottom, the home, bringing it from the home game or the back alley there, Duane. Very nice, very nice.
Cards and loaded dice.
So, DC, I want to start. The conference tournaments have started. Obviously, next week's all the bigger conferences, the smaller conferences this week. Is this just the small build over basically starting the beginning of the week to now to what it's going to be next week? And then, of course, for the tournament up at your shop there, Duane?
Yeah, definitely, Jeff. It picks up momentum. You know how it is. You have these smaller conference tournaments. It's pretty extensive schedule here that we have at the Rampart and the South Point. But these are teams that are the Cinderella stories, basically, not the marquee conferences like we just discussed, like the SEC, Big East, all that. That's going to be real exciting, all these tournaments. And you have several of these tournaments that are taking place in Las Vegas. So us at the Rampart and the South Point, we try and garner as much handle as we we can from these people commuting in. And, it's just a fun time of the year. Definitely one of the most exciting times of the year next to Super Bowl. And we're really anticipating great crowds. We got a lot going on at the Rampart come tournament time. And definitely the conference tournaments next week are going to be superior. The room will be packed. We're going to have tons of action here, and we're just looking forward to it.
Duane, what have the people been betting so far here today? Obviously, this is the biggest, most extensive card for these conference tournaments. There's also regular season ball still to go. There's a big matchup in the Big Ten with Purdue and Illinois. There's two big Mountain West matchups late at night here today with Boise and Colorado State, and UNLV gets another crack at New Mexico and Albuquerque. What have the folks been betting in college hoops here today?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm looking at the handle and you mentioned the two games right off the bat. We're seeing some flashes of Boise money and naturally UNLV. So we are getting a lot of conference money here to start the day off at the Rampart and the South Point. The Missouri Valley Conference, too, we're getting some action on some of those games without a doubt. And, good handle across the board. But the two games that you mentioned, the late starts, are the games that, the 7 o'clock starts. We have currently Boise State at 7 at the Rampart and South Point, and the Rebels are getting 11 tonight in New Mexico, so that's going to be a focal point. A lot of people will be parlaying and betting these games straight up. So those have been the games that have garnered a little more handle on the college board. We also have some NBA. The Knicks have to bounce back against the Clippers tonight. We're seeing some action on the Clip Show there. Naturally, after Brunson went down late, the hockey slate. We have the Vegas Golden Knights, I believe, are playing tonight. So there's a lot of action going on here in Las Vegas, and tremendous handle across the board, and definitely a credit to what Chris does over there at the South Point to market us as the brick and mortar shops. And, come on by and see us. We'll take care of you without a doubt. But those are some of the games that are focal on the handle.
We'll get to hockey in a little bit because the trade deadline's been pretty active, and Original Misfit comes back to town as well. So we'll get that in a little bit. But Duane, just one last note on college hoops here. Future book, obviously Duke and Auburn now the co-favorites to win this thing. Houston's gotten shorter and shorter over the last few weeks, and correctly so. What do your eyes tell you right now, Duane? Is it going to be one of those chalk teams, or do you think someone else down the board? Florida's the only other one shorter than 10-1 right now. It's 7-1 here at the South Point and up at your shop. Is there anything you would look at right now, Duane?
Well, the SEC, top to bottom, we talk about it week in and week out, Jeff. But finally, Auburn had, as Richie Aprile would say, their stutter step. And, they were able to finally lose a game. But I'm a homer. I'm liking Auburn there. I stuck with them the whole season. That's why I say that. So I think Auburn is definitely the team to beat coming into the tournament. And like I said, I'm a homer. So St. John's, definitely. Pitino has turned this college around from a basketball standpoint in a couple of years, and it's just fabulous to see the Queens kids doing it. They have a bobblehead day today, I believe. It's awesome, the vibe in New York when St. John starts to play well, especially around Madison Square Garden and Carnesecca Arena, and they're selling out games and moving them to Madison Square Garden. So it's just a great vibe. I'm hoping they can win the Big East tournament 25-1. You see, those are some ripe odds, and Pitino has these kids playing at a top level in the top 6 in the country. Why not take a chance with St. John's? Like I said, you go further down the board. Michigan State has a chance to, right there. Arizona is more of a home team orientation. I think they play very well at home. I've said that before. And you see Texas A&M there, 50-1, and they were the team that beat Auburn. So let's see how this all plays out. Houston's a major player, such a fabulous coach, and such a fabulous turnaround for that college as well, similar to St. John's. And they've been right there now the last couple of years. Definitely, these coaches make a difference when you're dealing with legends and dealing with these college kids. And if the kids can absorb what the coaches are transpiring onto the court, it becomes a great, basketball. And you see it with Houston and St. John's.
Duane, you brought it up again. St. John's has captured the minds and hearts of everyone at MSG. Of course, Big East tournament, Madison Square Garden, will always be electric. But boy, St. John's UConn game in that tournament will really be something else. This go around. Of course, UConn earlier in the week beating Marquette to at least really just continue to potentially move them up the board in the NCAA tournament. UConn.
Three-peat?
Yeah, not have. I don't think so, Duane. I don't think so. 75-1 right now on UConn,
and that's where the coach plays against you because he put an X on his back, and all of a sudden his team became the focal point, and it backfired because they lost a lot of games they should have won this year. So I agree with you, Jeff. 75-1. That's why you're seeing those odds.
Well, I will say when you win back-to-back titles, it could be me coaching the team, and they'd have an X on their back. So, boy, if I was coaching that team, that would probably not end well for anybody. But that's a different discussion for a different time. All right, Duane, I want to go to the NBA real quick because last night you got what in normal years would be just monster handle game with the Knicks and the Lakers, and boy, that delivered last night. The bad news for the Knicks that Jalen Brunson injured himself, and that number tonight against the Clippers is ballooned because of that. Don't expect Cat either from 4.5 on the early numbers to 7.5. But Duane, I'll just ask NBA-wise because I want to ask you the Lakers, who I know are always the number one bet team at your shop. We've talked about this all the time. The Lakers are playing as well as anyone. They have Luka Doncic alongside LeBron James. Have you been able to stop the parade to the window on Laker bets in any sort of circumstance right now?
No, to be honest with you. If they play a marquee team, you're going to see some two-way action. Like last night, the Knicks had an excellent chance, but as soon as Brunson went down, and Towns didn't look like he was complimenting him too much. He was a little goofy out there late. Him and Josh Hart weren't on the same page. It seemed like Anunoby missed a few shots. And then once Brunson comes out of the game, you don't have that slicing and dicing, as Walt Clyde Frazier would say. So the Lakers were able to take advantage of it. Granted, the game was in L.A. Then you had Spike Lee again inciting the opponent. Why is he even on the sidelines in L.A.? Minute 10 to go. He's acting like the Knicks won the game. And, of course, LeBron and Luka then will just take control and, transpire that animosity into great shooting. Luka hit a couple of shots that were ridiculous. He hit like a 28-footer, and it just was so high in the air and nothing but net. The Lakers are going to be very difficult to stop. Not that OKC is not the top team still in the West. Still got to beat Denver. Still got to beat Memphis. A lot of these teams, but the Lakers made the right trade. I don't even know what Dallas was thinking there. That's just ridiculous. And now Dallas is looking to shut down the season. What is happening here in sports? You got marquee boxes taking knees over the weekend, and I had something in my eye. NBA team shutting down the season. Come on, let's get a competitive edge to ourselves, and let's keep it going. But the Lakers definitely focal point in the futures market, Jeff. That's where we're seeing a ton of action on the Lakers. It's incredible, and it's just going to keep funneling in unless LeBron or Luka gets injured or something, because they're playing at such a top level right now. 8 in a row. It's unbelievable. The Knicks look good. They played very well. But, Coach Thibodeau, he uses that front five so much that they're going to definitely break down. And you saw that with Brunson last night. That looked like a bad ankle injury, if you ask me. So we got to keep our eye on that moving forward for the playoff drive against Cleveland and Boston. They need all the dogs they have. And, just taking him out, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, the early reports seem to think that he may have just sprained the ankle. Did not look good. That's all I'll say with last night.
No, I look bad.
And for the real quick, just to piggyback on your Mavericks thing real quick, I think that fan base would be okay with that team just not playing another game this year. So, you trade.
They might wreck the stadium.
Yeah, you trade Luka. AV gets hurt immediately. Kyrie tears his ACI. It's almost like the basketball god. It's almost like the basketball gods telling you, yeah, you screwed up, guys. You screwed up by doing that trade. All right, hockey real quick, my friend.
Yes.
What's caught your eye the most at the trade so far with the trade deadline approaching here, Duane?
Looks like Dallas might get Rantanen, and that's just monstrous. Dallas is playing at a great level right now, and you got to keep your eye on that. They're only about, I think it's like 6 to 8 points now behind Winnipeg. So, that's 3-4 games in the win column. Definitely this will help. Peter DeBoer is an excellent head coach. Dallas could definitely be difficult down the stretch, and that so far looks like the marquee acquisition. Also, the shutdown of Jack Hughes, that's incredible. I mean, it's very difficult for the Devils to play without him. I mean, they have some definitely some other workhorses, but, he's the backbone of that team. And it's as soon as you got back your marquee goaltender that you picked up in the offseason, Markstrom. So very difficult to get a read there. The move for Riley Smith, I'm not a big fan of Riley Smith personally. I'm a Vegas Golden Knight guy, them and the Canadians. But I just think that the Rangers were able to unload him because he wasn't playing well at all. Ever since the move, Pittsburgh, Rangers, he's been non-existent. So I don't know how much he's going to bring to the table. Knights look really good against the Maple Leafs the other night. Yeah. And I thought that maybe Marchand would be the focal point. I think that would have put the Knights over the top. Not a guy like Riley Smith who's just going to play a small role. So we'll see if the Knights make another move, but Aiden Hill is definitely healthy and he looks strong. I think he could definitely lead them back to the Stanley Cup, but you have so many teams, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Dallas, Colorado also. Never leave Colorado out. They need Nichushkin to be healthy for them to be successful, and they need good goaltender play. That's been their problem over the past years. They tried to rectify that earlier in the season. I don't know if their goaltending can carry them when you're dealing with guys like Hellebuck, Aiden Hill, and all these other fabulous goaltenders, Jake Ottinger, definitely Bobrovsky, and they even got rid of Spencer Knight, Florida. So that was an interesting move. If Bobrovsky could keep them going throughout the playoffs, they're going to need some backup help because he's getting a little older, like Vasilevsky. So let's keep that in mind. The NHL is wide open. It's so exciting now. I love it. It's the best playoff sport there is. And, you have so many teams that have a chance and can play at a competitive level. That Edmonton-Montreal game was fabulous last night. I mean, the Habs took Edmonton to the brink, and they're right there. Lane Hudson is definitely, in my opinion, the front runner for the Rookie of the Year over Celebrini and Michkov. Let's keep an eye on that race as it comes down the stretch. Montreal had won 5 in a row. They lost that game naturally in Edmonton after beating them earlier in the season. So let's see how these teams start to, bolster up for the playoff drive.
All I'll tell you is no state income tax is a heck of a perk for Rantanen. Of course, that deal seems to be done at this point, actually. Both Friedman and Valley, who, of course, are big hockey reporters out of Canada, both on it right now. Looks like Rantanen with an 8-year extension in place in Dallas with a bunch of picks and a few other pieces going the other way to Dallas, or from Dallas to Carolina. That changes things out west. That's all I'll say, because, look, Winnipeg, other than their Western Conference final run where they lost to VGK, has not accomplished anything postseason-wise. That was 8 years ago now, anyway.
Colorado won that trade. That's what the base was.
That is correct.
The Rantanen trade, Colorado, yes. That was a steal, but now he's back in the Western Conference, so that could be, and the same division. That could be a little annoying. So let's keep our eye on that. But definitely Colorado won that trade with Carolina, and Carolina now, let's see what they do. They're right in a peak position as well to, create some noise in the Eastern Conference, which I believe still Florida is the front runner, but you have a lot of teams that are right there and a lot of young teams that are hungry. And definitely the disappointment, the New York Rangers, this is why they're getting rid of these guys left and right. They might be looking for a rebuild. I heard Kreider is on the block, from a lot of my sources in New York. They're looking to ship him out. They're not happy with the contract extension of Lafreniere's performance. He's played horrible. And, Panarin is just there, with these guys who are not supporting him. And he's a great player. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Rangers do. And they gave Shesterkin all that money. So now they're in a rough position because Igor at first turned it down, and that might have been the best thing for the Rangers, but then they bolstered up the offer. Now he's signed in the fold. Don't get me wrong, he's one of the top 5 NHL goaltenders in the league, but the Rangers have been the disappointment along with the New York Islanders. Patrick Roy is pulling out the, hair out of his head. He can't motivate this team, and he's so upset. They have great goaltending. They have a nice core, but they can't draw fans into Elmont, New York, and now they're looking on the outside of probably not going to make the playoffs. So very interesting scenario in New York. Boston has fallen off the map as well. That's why they're looking to ship Marchand. Very interesting. I have no faith in Toronto. You know how I am, Jeff. I'm a Habs fan anyway. Toronto never accomplished anything like Winnipeg. What do? They lose every year. So, the East is wide open. Don't get me wrong.
I was about to ask you, are we finally, because I still don't buy Washington. I know they've had this magical year. I just don't buy them in a playoff scenario. Florida, look, they've been to the Cup final 2 straight years. It is unbelievably impossible to get back there a 3rd straight year at this point. You're just playing too many games. At some point, you expect them to run out of gas. Carolina just traded arguably their best player. The Devils' best players hurt the rest of the year. The Lightning are playing amazing right now. So, it kind of feels maybe Tampa gets back. And I was going to ask you, could this finally be the year?
Tough, man.
Could this finally be the year that Toronto breaks through? But you just said it again. It's the Maple Leafs.
No.
Until they break through.
Will outcoach anybody for Toronto. And Toronto, you saw it against the Vegas Golden Knights. They just want to all be the superstar. Everybody wants to be the superstar. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Nylander. And they can't play as a cohesive unit. They never have great goaltending. I don't care who's playing goal for them. They never get great goaltending. And, they're right there. Don't get me wrong. But Florida has to utilize the $8 million, Jeff, that they freed up putting Kachuk on long-term IR. So if they could get somebody that could definitely help them get into the playoffs, and then Kachuk comes back, hopefully, there can be some noise there created by Florida. I agree. Washington, they're riding the Ovechkin wave and the popularity wave. They've gotten great play out of Logan Thompson and Lindgren of late has been unbelievable. That game against the Rangers was very, very solid. That was a big win. That sent the statement. So Washington could be difficult. And that they've been there, done that when you have guys like Wilson, Ovechkin, and some of those veteran leaders, plus the solid goaltending. Definitely Washington has a chance, but I'm like you, I'm very leery of these Eastern Conference teams. I think the West is much better. I mean, we didn't even mention the LA Kings, and they drudged the Vegas Golden Knights the last time they played them, and I'm looking forward to seeing them play them upcoming. So I'll be at T-Mobile for that game. It's going to be an exciting playoff run, Jeff, and the NHL always brings that to the table.
Duane, I want to go to NFL offseason before we let you go. Obviously, moves are starting to be made. Trades are being demanded. All sorts of craziness across the board. Duane, I'll just ask you, in an offseason where the quarterback market is strange, to put it lightly, if Myles Garrett gets traded from Cleveland, where he's requested one, he might be the biggest mover to the future board. I know that is so bizarre to say about a defensive player, but none of these quarterbacks move the needle for me at this point. Duane, am I off in having that inference here?
No, not at all. They're terrible. I mean, look at it. Aaron Rodgers, very suspect. Wilson, he's at the end of his career. Donald, those last few games, I mean, he was overthrowing guys by 10 yards. I mean, very suspect. I'm seeing some grumblings that your team is trying to get Lawrence out of Jacksonville.
Oh, boy.
Or the Giants, they're both looking for that. He's been horrible down the stretch for the last couple of years. I mean, 2 years ago, he just self-imploded. Jacksonville was a shoo-in for the playoffs, and they couldn't make it. So, I'm very surprised Jerry hasn't been really aggressively going after Garrett, because that could definitely be a needle mover. This guy's the best defensive player, in the last 10 years. So he's just out of Cleveland. Let's make some offers for this guy. But the teams that are there seem to be the same, and that's what's going to be the repetition. Maybe San Francisco could improve if they sign Bosa. He was released, get the Bosa brothers together, but they lost Debo and a huge acquisition for the Commanders. Commanders are going to be around for a while. I tell you, as long as Jaden Daniels is healthy, they were on the cusp of going to a Super Bowl already. So Definitely going to be difficult in the NFC East. And it's so funny how last year I was so critical, making fun of the NFC East, and now they have two of the best teams in the NFL there, the Eagles, the reigning champs, and Washington. So, most of these teams that have their quarterback solidified, they're going to be the teams that make the playoffs. You could see Detroit will be right back to where they were. Green Bay, hopefully they could make some acquisitions to improve, but they showed some holes last year. And on the AFC, as long as you have Josh Lamar and Patrick, those teams are going to be very difficult. And Denver's improving, like we said. San Diego's improving. LA Chargers are improving.
Dollar in the jar, Duane.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be an interesting offseason, but the quarterbacks do not move the needle for me. I'm interested to see where Aaron Rodgers goes. I want to see who's going to take a chance on him and, open up the checkbook. Maybe Fields is the most appealing quarterback out there if you get him, but that's a joke. I mean, the Raiders are in a lot of trouble now. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what Pete Carroll's going to do there. Teams like them, New Orleans, they're locked in with Carr. There's a lot of teams that are just, their money is locked up in the wrong places and they have to rebuild, but can they rebuild? That's the whole question.
I'll just say this. I'm of the camp that Shedeur Sanders is going to be the Raiders quarterback next year. I know that there's a lot of noise of, he's not going to get past the top three. If Russell Wilson does not come to Vegas, I don't see the Raiders going after. I just don't see it.
I'd rather have Sanders. I'd rather have Sanders. Russell Wilson, okay, you got the camaraderie with Pete Carroll, but they were sort of like going separate ways towards the end.
100%.
I don't know if that would work.
100%.
To be honest with you.
And Duane, I don't know what Aaron Rodgers' relationship is with Tom Brady. I don't know, but I don't I can't. If I'm Chip Kelly,
Brady might be the best option.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
I get Devontae Adams in there, and then draft a wide receiver or running back, and there you go. You got Tom Terrific, the best. I mean. I don't know.
Yeah, craziness. I don't think. By the way, I don't think Rodgers plays again. That's been my line now for the last few weeks. I think Rodgers. I don't think Giants own it. I think the Giants are the only team that could be desperate enough to do it because Shane and Dable are in the mode of, hey, if we don't win this year, we're done. And when you're desperate, you could do anything. But if they don't do it, I just don't see it. I really don't.
And they were aggressive with Stafford. So, Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, real close. I mean, at this stage of their career, Stafford's looking down the retirement road.
Stafford's better still now.
Well, yeah, but now let's relax because you always have that wife out there, and she's more outspoken than Stafford. And then you get to New York and you start losing games, and forget it, she'll be battling with the media. So I'm not so sure about that.
You don't have to worry about it,
though. Maybe a skill set, but keep your eye on Jeff. There are a lot of great guys out there, or wide receivers. Keep your eye on that because there's going to be a few wide receivers. Cooper Kupp, let's definitely his moving around. You've seen Debo move already. There's definitely some guys making noise. Garrett Wilson, he's making noise. The kid from LSU, not so sure if he wants to be on the Giants. So you might see a lot of wide receivers move around. They could definitely move the needle. They have been valued higher than running backs at this stage, and that kind of backfired last year because Saquon was definitely the marquee free agent and proved that he is the best running back in the game and how valuable a running back could be to the team. But you're going to see a lot of wide receivers move around, and if one wide receiver goes to the right place, that could definitely move the needle, especially if it goes if you have a great quarterback throwing you the ball.
Yeah, I'll just say DK Metcalf's already requested a
Devontae Adams.
Yeah, Devontae's out there now. So,
right.
All right, Duane, before we let you go, because it's been requested, do you have a play in the Tampa Bay Derby this weekend?
The Tampa Bay Derby. I like the horse there that ran third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Chad Brown now trains the horse. Hill something, I believe. I gave it out on Ralph's. I don't have the list in front of me, but I like that horse. Third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Now this is his first race back under Chad Brown. I definitely think if he could navigate a better trip, because Tampa's a little tighter, the turns, than Del Mar, where the Breeders' Cup was run. He's going to have to break a little better, but but I definitely think that horse has an excellent chance. So, Chad Brown, he's one of the masters. He definitely is one of the top trainers in the game. And I also have one for you today. We got one at Oaklawn Park, race 8, number 5, Devilish Desire, Ricardo Santana, David Jacobson. I think this horse could definitely win this race. Keep an eye on that. We're going to use him with the 4 and the 6 in that race. So 5 with 4, 6 in race 8 at Oaklawn Park today. You got plenty of time to get down. And the Chad Brown horse is my pick in the Tampa Bay Derby. Definitely has an excellent chance. That race is wide open. I'm not so sure, if a Derby win is going to come out of there after, last weekend. It was just unbelievable, the 2 runs by Sovereignty and also the horse there, Journalism at Santa Anita. So they definitely have the inside track thus far on the Kentucky Derby. But there's a lot of prep races left. We still have the Florida Derby and several others, the Wood out at Aqueduct. So keep your eyes open and definitely listen on this show. Listen to Ralph's show, the Race Day show. We have the best horse racing and sports shows on any network. I mean, we just blow it out of the water here because you're getting the experts and the source. That's what it's all about.
He's the best. Duane Colucci, race and sportsbook director up at the Rampart. NY Bookie Duane on the tweets as well. DC, pleasure as always. We will see you again next Friday.
Thanks, Jeff. Definitely appreciate it. And I'll be tuning in at 2 o'clock. Can't wait to see Sammy.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome. Definitely. So, like I said, we got the best here going. Sports by the Book, Race Day Las Vegas, South Point Studios, South Point and Rampart. Jeff, you're the best. Love you, brother.
Thank you, buddy, as always. And Duane did my job for me, teasing what's coming up at 2 o'clock. Sonny Vaccaro will be joining us right out of the chute on Free Throw Friday at 2 p.m. here this week. And not only that, Jimmy will be in studio for the interview, too. So we'll see. We'll see how fun it gets with myself, Vinny, and Chris at 2 o'clock right here on the channel. All right. Quick break. When we get back, more college hoops to get to here today on a Friday. Sports by the Book here at the South Point. Goose, please.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold them or fold them, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza, plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book, over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Welcome back in at Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. I'm Jeff Parles. Few more to get to here in college hoops. We'll hit as many as we can over the next 20 minutes. Let's start in the Southern Conference, where we get going in that conference tournament today. Number 1 seed Chattanooga. Great offensive team. Great offensive team. They are not in action here today, though. The games in action, we'll hit that first as we get the bracket ready. We'll start with Mercer and Western Carolina. Not a particularly good game. 6-point favorites, Mercer Bears, with a total of 153.5 is spot on. The other game, VMI and the Citadel. VMI is 6. Citadel hasn't won a game all year in conference. Do as you may with that information. Do as you may with that information. In the tournament, as you see, so the defending champions and in KenPom, Samford, who right now in KenPom is still the highest rated team in this league. They're all the way down to the 4. They have to play a pretty good Furman team in round 1. I still think they're the bet. Now, Chattanooga's plus 265, Samford's plus 350, UNCG's plus 380, Wofford and ETSU are plus 625. But those are all compact for a reason. Now, if you told me anyone in the top 6 won this league, by the way, Furman plus 750, I wouldn't be stunned. But I do like Samford at plus 350. That would be the way that I would look at this one to win this league. I think they're still the best team, even with a difficult draw, in order to get to the finals and then win it. And I don't trust Chattanooga's defense one bit. That's really the biggest thing, more so than anything. Chattanooga's 251st in defense. Other than the bottom feeders, that is the worst in this conference in the SoCon. All right. Moving along. Sunbelt. Continue the ladder. Georgia State beat Georgia Southern yesterday. They get Marshall. They're getting 7.5 in this game. I think that's too many points. We're getting closer to the quarterfinals of this ridiculous tournament down there in Pensacola. 7.5 feels like too much with Georgia State. I would be willing to take that, especially now at the best of the number against Marshall. Appalachian State is 8.5 against ODU. ODU's already won twice. I think that number is right. Just a matter of how much gas is left in the tank when this ends up being the case, when you get a team that has to play multiple. I mean, ODU would end up having to win 6 consecutive games in order to win this title. So read the tea leaves on that one. All right, Summit. South Dakota and North Dakota State. We'll lay the 4 with the Bison. You can find 3.5, so go get the best number here that's out there. If you miss the early 3s, it's still okay. North Dakota State just much better than the South Dakota team. Now, huge contrast to styles. South Dakota is obscenely quick tempo-wise. Number 3 in the country. North Dakota State's 307. Slowest team still alive left in this tournament. But I do like North Dakota State. They're just much more talented when it's all said and done in this one. And then South Dakota State is 8 against North Dakota. Numbers are all good there. No play, no look in that one. To the Ohio Valley semis, this will be the first bid that will be given out. Little Rock is 2.5-point dogs against the number 1 seed SEMO. I like the dog. I like them outright. Little Rock, to me, these teams are pretty darn even. 1, 2, and 4 in this league are even. And I actually think Little Rock playing yesterday helps them. Now, the matchups between these teams during the year, they split. Road team won both. So a little bit of a funky one there, but I would take Little Rock outright. That would be the way I'd look to play this one. And then SIUE takes on Tennessee State. Lay the 3 with Edwardsville. They're the better team. I have Edwardsville winning this tournament, so I do like the Cougars in that one laying the 3. WCC continues. Portland and Pepperdine. First games for them here today. Pepperdine is a 2.5-point dog against Portland. Actually, 1.5. Oh, now back to 2.5 in this game. It was 1.5. Now, 1.5 was good on Portland. Now 2.5, I'd stay out. 156.5. Probably a good over, even though, again, conference tournaments do trend to going under. And then LMU and San Diego, 8, 146.5 would be a look to the Lions laying the 8. Toreros won a tight game yesterday against Pacific. They are the worst team in this league, even with the win yesterday, would be laying the 8 with LMU. In the Big South, High Point, right on the number right now, leading Gardner-Webb. We can go to the next game. Radford and Presbyterian. This is a tough one because I think Radford should be a bigger favorite, but the way these teams play in this league, Radford fully offense first and slow. Presbyterian, slow and not good at anything. So, yeah, it is a bet on Radford. Even though, again, these conference tournaments, you can get some weird stuff. They did split. Road team won both matchups between these teams this year. UNC Asheville and Charleston Southern. I think Asheville should be a slightly bigger favorite than they are at 7, but not strong enough to play. And then Winthrop and Longwood. I like the Lancers outright dog in this one. Even though if you look at the analytics number, Winthrop is definitely better, and Winthrop swept the season series with 2 blowouts. I think Longwood's got a real shot to stay in this game, especially if the pace is as quick as we think it's going to be here in this one. So we'll see how it plays out down there in Johnson City here this year. All right, regular season games, then trivia, and then we'll get out of here today. Dayton and VCU. VCU just got to keep winning. Got to keep winning to make sure that they get an at-large bid if they happen to slip up in Brooklyn next week. They're 9.5-point dogs. Dayton is on the road in this one against VCU, 142. Total just moved. It's close. It's very close here if this is a play or not on VCU. I think I would lean to staying out of this, see if it comes down a little bit more through the day. Purdue in Illinois. The Illinois is 4 in this one against Purdue. Total's 159.5. I don't know what to do here. This number feels spot on to me. Where Illinois finally coming off of looking like the Illini again. They put it on Michigan on Sunday. Purdue, 2 straight wins, dominated both their games at Mackey last week. I would steer clear. This is a really difficult one to figure. The only look I'd consider would be going over because just seeding in the Big Ten tournament, both of these teams are safely in the NCAA. There's not too much to play for here. It'll be a lean to the over, but not strong enough on that one. Tough game. Again, these numbers end the year very, very, very tight here in these regular season games. Colorado State and Boise. If you can get the 6, I would take it with the Rams. Colorado State's just been flying under the radar. They're playing really well. They've won 6 in a row. They've won 7 out of 8. They're playing some great ball. And they're alive here in Vegas next week. They can beat anyone in this league. San Diego, New Mexico is the only team they played twice that they've gotten swept by. So the Lobos go out early. Colorado State is alive. Not a big fan of this Boise team. I haven't really been a big fan of Boise the last few years. I thought they've been a little bit of an underachiever with the talent on their roster, and they don't show in big games under Leon Rice. So would be a look at Colorado State more so than anything. And then UNLV on the road in New Mexico. Big number here, 11.5 at some shops, 11 behind us. So the only matchup this year was played at a New Mexico-ish pace here at UNLV, and New Mexico only won by 2. New Mexico already has the number 1 seed in the conference wrapped here in Vegas. Because of the sweep of Colorado State, they can't get caught. UNLV is locked in as well to the 6. Maybe this is happy action fun time, as our old friend Wes Reynolds would say. But boy, going over in a UNLV game is a very, very difficult thing to justify. So 147.5. I wish it was a little lower. But again, New Mexico, 4th fastest tempo in all of college basketball this year. All right, before we get out of here, good trivia question today. Good trivia question. The only team in college basketball history that has won both the NIT and the NCAA tournament in the same year. I knew this one. Didn't even have to see the answer. Because this is one that my grandfather always told me about, being a New York guy himself. 1950, the known basketball power of CCNY, the City College in New York, won both the NIT and the NCAA tournament in the same year. And not only did they do that, They beat the same team in both final. The Bradley Braves. They beat them in both the NIT and the NCAA tournament. Congratulations to Dean Hilt, who came through with the victory here today. Good work, Dean. Again, a good one. Really, really good. Really good question here today, and a tough one at that. So, CCNY, as we all expected to be the answer of that. Right now, CCNY, D3. So, not even in D1. Not even close anymore. All right. That's all we got for you. Coming up later today, 2 o'clock, myself, Chris Andrews, Vinny Magliulo, Jimmy Vaccaro. Welcome Sonny Vaccaro to the show. We'll be looking forward to that. Free Throw Friday, we'll do some hoops. We'll talk to Sonny as well. His new book out as well, Legends and Souls. A lot to get to with Sonny at 2 o'clock here today. We'll see you then. Sports by the Book. Big thanks, by the way, to the crew. Drew Dog, Vince, Sean as well. We'll see you at 2 o'clock here at the South Point studio, as always.